What is worse than having a bad throat? It is when you open the window and the fresh breeze that flows past your face. It sounds a lot like you are not good at the very thing that you love doing. Now, this thing you've held tighter after letting a lot of other things go. So tight that it ceases to be a part of you and it starts becoming you. But now you're told that it is not enough. The way that you've been doing it so far is not enough. So that would mean you are not enough. What do you do then? It's simple, really. You make soup. So here's a neat little trick that you can use while making soup. You can dump out your entire bucket into the cup first, then use only a little bit of the hot water and mix it into a thick paste. So this will avoid any of the lumps, and also you can decide what the consistency of your soup 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 should be. uh, you can mix thoroughly and you don't have to worry about the water getting too cold, because you can always add in more hot water. The only thing that you have to worry about, oh god, okay, this is not going as smoothly as I wanted it to be. There are still lumps forming, maybe because the soup is old, or maybe the technique is not perfect enough. Today in class we were studying about rituals, some things that you do that you do not question. But the thing is, maybe sometimes you do it and you question it and you immediately justify it. Rituals don't have to be meaningless. Rituals can be also actions that have a forced meaning on it. And this phrase, well, if it ain't broke, it's weird because who decides what is broken? What is broke might be what the person that is doing intentionally wanted, and that person doesn't consider it to be broken. Doesn't mean I want lumps in my soup, so I'm going to continue stirring. My aim shouldn't be making a soup that is completely free of lumps. It should be making a soup that is going to help me feel better, make my throat feel less sore. I think we have achieved that. If I'm going to talk too much, then even that will not be the criteria of my award winning soup. Okay. If I'm going to go haywire with my thoughts, if I'm going to go absolutely unnecessarily analytical, then let's talk about the lumps in the soup. Why would you not prefer having them? First, it may it may hinder the standard soup drinking experience. You wouldn't want a burst of flavors when you bite into a sludge while having a consistently liquidy soup. Maybe the heat is not being trapped inside those lumps, so it will also create a disruption in the temperature of the soup drinking experience. Maybe it's harder to wash if there are lumps sticking to the spoon. Maybe you will criticize yourself for having lumps in your soup, and it will make you feel that you are not adequate. Maybe you will question your decision of buying that particular pack of soup which already had lumps in it. A question also arises: if you're continuing to make soups that have lumps in it, then will you ever learn to make soups without lumps? But if you always, you know, are extra careful about making lumpless soups, then you would not know that it is not that different from having a soup with some lumps in it. Hyperfixation. Is it an inherently a negative thing? If it is helping you think about something. Fuck me. Unless something interesting like this happens, you ought to fill your head with one or the other thought while going through mundane tasks such as making soup. Because mind is not going to stay empty. It's going to have things that are going to bounce off of the walls of your skull. So would you rather it be something that is neutral than something that is extremely bad or extremely good? The latter may surprise you, because what's wrong with being always happy? What's wrong with having perfect soup every single time? Then you run the risk of having soup that is not perfect, and that disappoints you. That throws you off. So maybe the thing that is protecting you from soup with lumps is other soup with lumps. Do you agree? Yes, the pigeons are really smart. As opposed to what? Intelligence is a very strange concept. And the way humans look at intelligence, it's even stranger. What animal would you consider to be? What category of animal would you consider to be? You're welcome. To be more intelligent. There might be a slug that moves slow, doesn't do much, just enough to, you know, sustain. Food just enough to sustain. And I don't know what a routine of a slug is, but I'm imagining there is not much other than consumption, procreation, and excretion. Maybe migration, that is also a factor that would help in propagation, which is obviously retaining the self. That's what all species, I'm assuming, are fighting towards, immortality. And funny enough, that is what humans try to do as well. We try to leave a mark, we try to be glorious, we try to be more so that we can be ourselves for longer, which is ironic. Because we have figured out what death is. I mean, we haven't, but we are aware about it. So we want to fight death itself. We want to live beyond our physical presence. But then that is, it we could have always done that. Yes. That was that. No idea. But we'll let that tangent go, and we'll come back to the idea of smart beings. We are measuring, the metric for intelligence is created by us, so it's unfair to look at other animals and think that they do not have an ability that we do, they do not have an understanding that we do, they don't have the awareness, the consciousness, or the self consciousness that we do. All of these are functions of a brain primarily. So we are looking at the capacity of thought rather than the efficiency of thought. uh, because what exactly is the fairest way to measure intelligence? Who is the winner? The slug that lived its entire lifespan without worrying about the structures that we have created in society, or us who is trying to fit into the structures that we created? Okay, the soup is starting to get colder. Oh yeah, lots of lumps.